Hello and welcome to the 4th episode of Knox Talent Meets. I'm Joey Morgenstern, and this is where we sit down with creative people, we hear their stories, then we give them a chance to show off their talents. Today's guest is an aspiring photographer. Today's guest is Adrian Bennett.
KTM.
This is where Knox Talent meets.
Quiet on the set.
Action.
All right, Adrian, thank you for coming on the show. It's great to have you here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are a photographer.
I am sometimes.
Sometimes. So, if you don't, how long have you been doing photography?
I want to say professionally, like starting a business and everything, a little over a year. But I've been into photography for maybe 3 years or so.
Very cool. 3 years and you're only what?
I'm 18.
Yeah, so since you were 15.
Yeah.
I can do math. Well, cool. So what, when you first got started, what kind of things did you like to take pictures of?
So I really enjoy nature. That's probably the easiest thing to shoot. You know, you don't have to tell it to pose. But anyways, in my photography classes, I took a few classes in high school. And it was a lot of just like around the school, but that taught me, I mean, like boring subjects, but that taught me a lot about the elements of photography. And so I started applying that to nature and everything. And then I moved into portraits and like senior shoots and everything.
Okay.
So
what kind of work have you gotten over the years?
I've done a lot of senior photography, a few weddings.
Weddings seem intimidating.
They really are. And my first one was a horror show.
Was it?
Let me tell you. It was in a really dark church. And the only windows in the church were red stained glass.
Oh, really?
So
Oh.
it was, yeah. And that was one day I had just gotten my new gear. And the saturation was really bumped up on the camera and I didn't realize it.
Wow.
So all the pictures came out really, really red.
Oh, wow.
So, and it was definitely like a very last minute wedding. So after the like actual ceremony, I was going to take pictures at the reception and everything. And they were like, no, you can just go. Like they hadn't decorated anything. So it was pretty terrible. I was so nervous. I showed up like 3 hours early trying to find like some good like picture areas. And there were none. There were none.
Trying to get the lighting and everything.
So, but my most recent one, it was actually one of my good friends, and it turned out a lot more successwell.
Okay.
So I'm glad for that.
Awesome. Sorry, I'm adjusting sound here. I don't know what I'm
good.
doing. Amateur hour. Well, that's hilarious. That's funny
Yeah.
for some first. Well, so when you get into nature, one thing I notice is when you're outdoors and it's sunny, I mean, it's almost hard to.
Oh yeah.
You have to block the sun.
Yeah.
You know?
And one thing that I really enjoy shooting is waterfalls in the mountains.
Okay.
And that is literally the hardest thing to do because if you want to get that kind of like silky texture on the water, you have to leave your shutter open for a while.
Right.
So you have to do it when it's like really dark, and it took me a really long time to realize that.
Right.
Because I would leave my shutter open for like maybe 10 seconds, and the picture would just come out white, and I was like, "What is going on?" And I was like, "Oh, it's too bright."
Yeah.
So you got to do it when it's like dusk.
What's
if
the
you
term?
want bright.
Overexposed?
Yeah.
Okay, overexposed. Yeah. I know, like leaving your shutter open, that's the kind of a concept of showing motion in your pictures. So that would like cover that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like with waterfalls, I know if you take a picture, high shutter speed, then it just looks like drops of water frozen in time. Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's okay too if that's what you're going for, but I really like that silky texture on the water.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it looks just like a little more ethereal, I guess.
Yeah, ethereal.
Yeah.
That's a good way
That's
of looking at it.
okay.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, weddings, to me, they seem intimidating.
They are, just because, like, my first few, I was terrified. I was like, do I stand in the aisle? Like, I was like, I'm going to be, like, in the way of everything. And I really was. But I don't think anybody cared. I was like, well, that's also what they're paying me to do. Like, I'm capturing the moments.
Right.
They're not going to be like, oh, yeah, remember that time that the photographer was at your wedding?
Yeah, yeah. You got a good excuse there.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, but yeah, with outdoor photography, what would you try to? Are you trying to capture movement, like animals? Are you trying to capture trees?
I've done a little bit of everything, I guess. I do like taking pictures of animals. I do a lot with my dogs. My dogs are great models, actually.
And free.
Yes.
And always available.
But I think my favorite thing to shoot. I started that sentence without an end thought.
Oh, that's okay. That's all right.
I don't really know, actually.
That's all right.
Let me think.
That's okay. I'm asking
Yeah, I
about, because taking pictures of a bird, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot different than taking a picture of a still tree.
Yes.
You know.
So that can kind of get difficult because you've only got a couple shots, that you can get before it changes. So if anything is wrong, like, if you are shooting in manual and you don't realize that your light was actually up a little too much, like, the shot's ruined, you don't have anything.
Right.
So that's why I usually shoot in AV. It's a little less work, but you still got to keep an eye on that.
AV, is that raw?
So no,
AV?
manual would be raw.
Okay.
So that's where you're adjusting everything. AV is your aperture priority.
Okay.
So that's whenever you adjust like the zoom and everything and the f-stops. So
Okay.
that's just with the light and everything. But that it regulates a little bit more with the camera. It's more kind of like an auto thing on the camera.
Right.
That it does for you.
So outdoors, your setting is going to be AV, which is
Yeah.
aperture priority.
Yes.
Well, that's cool. Well, what's the there's TV, right?
Yeah.
When
TV.
I first looked at a camera, I thought TV was like, this is how you shoot a TV show. Like, I was like, that's the setting. It's got it all ready for you. Yeah, that's what I thought.
That is more for like movement. So I've gotten some pretty cool shots of people doing like gymnastics in TV.
Okay.
And that is good. It helps regulate that. So the TV and AV, those are the modes that are gonna already like the camera picks the settings for you.
Right.
So you just have to pick the light. So it makes it a lot easier.
So I've been exploring manual so much that I've learned too much manual, and I'm like, what do I turn it to AV? I'm like, I don't understand. So it's because I don't know what it means or whatever, and it can get a little confusing.
I really enjoy both. At first, I hated manual because I was like, it just did not make any sense to me. But the more that I went in my classes and everything, manual became my favorite way to shoot.
Right.
But it's better definitely with like still objects, I guess. If I'm doing like a senior shoot, I'll probably shoot an AV.
Okay.
Just because I'm like a continuous shooter. I'm not really a posing photographer. I'll be like, hey, go run around.
Yeah.
And I'll get some of them like laughing or something. And that's good because it's more genuine that way. A lot of times if you tell people to smile, they force it.
Yeah. You're capturing a
And-
moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I like to do. And I have a lot of the people that ask me to take their pictures and everything, they tell me that I've had 3 or 4 people tell me like, hey, these are the first pictures that I've actually liked myself in a long time. And that makes me feel really good as a photographer. That's my goal.
Awesome.
So
yeah. Well, for me, not trying to make it all about me, but because I'm trying to do photography a little bit, and I think I like portrait style.
I
a
like
little bit
them
better.
both because I used to do the headshots for the drama club when I was in high school.
Oh, okay.
So that was really fun because they all were like so serious about it. So they were like,
It's
you know,
drama.
I know, yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
So I mean, I like them both. They're both really rewarding.
Right. It's just, I think I'm just lazy. It's just a little easier.
I mean, you're right. You don't have to move. Yeah, I literally sat in my chair and I was like, all right, next. Click.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
done.
That's
So,
do you have anything coming up?
let me think. I do. A girl asked me if I could do her, just kind of like a little fun shoot. She was like, "Hey, I got an outfit that's coming in the mail. Can we do a photo shoot?" And I was like, "Yes, absolutely."
You said, that's $200. No, I'm kidding.
I am actually just now getting out of the woods where I'm charging people now.
Yeah, good.
So because I just wanted to build up a portfolio for a while.
Right.
So I was like, well, if you don't like your pictures, I don't want you to be losing anything because I was still learning. But now I'm really getting the hang of it. I take a lot of pictures in my shoots, so it's rare if I have nothing come out.
Right.
So, I mean, the more pictures, the better because usually my shoots are about 1,000 pictures.
Dang.
Yeah, and it's only within about an hour, too.
Okay, so you take 1,000 pictures. How many out of 1,000 do you normally choose?
A really good day, probably 100.
So 10%.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. I
Yeah.
mean, 100's still a lot.
That is a lot of photographers in the area. They'll charge by the hour, and then you only get 15 pictures out of it.
Right.
And I am just like, I'm a flat fee. Like, I don't do that. I feel like that's too restricting on me if I charge by the hour because I'm a photographer who I'm like, yeah, I think we're done here. And as we're walking, I'm like, oh my gosh, one more pose. I just thought of it. And so if I did that to the clients, that would be unfair to them, unfair to me.
Yeah, you're giving lots of value.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Great.
So it all started.
It all started
Your
in
education
high school.
in high school when it comes to photography. I've never
I
heard of
was-
a high school that offers photography.
Really? See, that's why I really enjoyed my high school. They were really arts based.
Okay.
I took 8 or 9 art classes in high school, all different.
What?
Like throughout my entire high school career.
That's insane.
I was like, I didn't even take any gym classes in high school.
Really?
It was all art.
Yeah. You're working out your fingers.
Yeah. So, besides photography, I draw, I paint, I do ceramics.
Oh, okay.
I do a little bit of everything. I also flip houses. So there you go. Interior
You
design.
flip houses?
I do with my dad. Yeah.
What? Oh, so your dad flips houses.
No,
I'm
I do
just
the
kidding.
work too.
I'm just kidding. That's awesome.
But I was like kind of just jumping from class to class, and I saw photography one day when I was registering for the next year, and I was like, hey, that sounds, interesting. Who wouldn't love to just run around with a camera all day?
Right.
So I signed up for it, and it turned out to be really good. A lot of people were just in there, just as like, oh, it's an easy class. And at first I was like, yeah, it's just easy. But it turned out to be really fun. So I actually took it 3 times.
Oh, but was it easy?
It was, because after that first time, my teacher was like, hey, you know what you're doing. Go do your own thing.
Right. Quit taking this damn class. What are you doing?
Literally. And so I just kind of did some independent projects. I really started dabbling in Photoshop and teaching myself a lot on that. And so by the end of the 3rd time I took it, she handed me a pamphlet and she was like, I cannot teach you anymore. Here's a course at the college that you can go to now.
Yeah.
She was like, you can come back and teach me.
Yeah, exactly.
So
also, I need a substitute next week.
I do substitute teach, actually.
Oh, well, there you go. I nailed it.
So when people ask me if I'm self-taught, I'm like, well, yes and no. Like, I learned the elements of photography in a class, but everything else, like, especially Photoshop-wise, like, I taught myself.
Okay.
So.
I recently got Photoshop.
Really?
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, with videos, that would be, like, your post for
Right.
photography.
Exactly. Well, I got Adobe Premiere as well.
Oh.
I got the package deal.
Oh, wow. That's
but
good.
Photoshop, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. There's color theory you have to learn. You have to learn.
I was about
that.
to say, there is a lot with it. And I definitely have some exercises that I'll put you on, and it'll help you.
I would so appreciate that.
I will send you like Google Docs, like I got
That's
you.
That's fine.
It's
yeah,
great.
Cool. That's awesome.
And just learning the tools.
But did you learn a lot of color theory?
Yeah, I did. And I messed around with it so much that I actually started with like I pulled up like a blank document one day, and I messed around with the settings so much that I created a realistic picture of a galaxy with Photoshop. You can do anything you want. Like, as long as you understand how it works.
I just learned how to make stars on there with noise and blur
yeah.
and Gaussian blur, Yeah.
Yes.
And I thought I was cool. You're like, I created a galaxy. What?
That was actually one of my projects, because my teacher was just really adamant on, like, you can do whatever you want, but all the pictures have to be yours. And I was like, well, obviously I haven't been to space.
Right.
So I had to make that for my background one time. So it was interesting.
That's cool. And I like space.
Space
Space
is cool.
is fascinating.
It is. It really
Star
is.
Trek guy.
Oh, really?
But
Oh.
it's funny.
And here we are at another stopping point.
Yep.
This
In
is
deep
when you go to the
space.
bathroom.
Yep, bathroom break.
Commercial insert.
I actually forgot what we were just talking about already. Because I was going to add to it, and I was like, Star Trek. There it went.
God.
Thanks, Star Trek. Have you ever taken pictures of the night sky?
I have. I did take some pictures of the stars one time. Oh my gosh. My biggest photography fail. It actually makes me sad just talking about it. I need a minute.
Let's hear it. Biggest photography fail.
Wow,
Wow, you're sweating.
Literally am. I used to have I used to dream about it, and I would wake up in sweats. So I really love the stars. Space has always fascinated me, constellations and everything. So I actually traveled cross country to California, to Joshua Tree State Park, or National Park, I guess. Beautiful out there, clear skies. I mean, the stars were so bright. And I took my camera and my tripod, and I was like, I'm going to take some amazing pictures of the stars, okay? So it's freezing. Deserts are freezing at night. And I spent 10 minutes, getting my shots all right. And I took a bunch of pictures. And I get back in the car and we're like going back to our room for the night and everything. And I realize all of the pictures were black. Nothing had turned out. And all because I had forgot to flip my focus from auto to manual.
Dang.
Yeah. So that whole trip, I literally.
But so when you took the picture, you couldn't see the preview at all?
It was just so cold. Like I was just like, shoot. I was like, I was like, I'll just, touch them up. I was like, it clicked off. The shutter clicked off, and I just pressed it again. I was like, I wasn't even thinking about it. I was like, there's no way they can't turn out.
Okay.
Because I had my shutter open for like 30 seconds, and I was like, there's no way nothing's gonna come up. Nothing.
That's sad.
I know. And pictures of stars in Joshua Tree are like the creme de la creme.
What's the biggest lesson you learned from that? What would you have done differently?
I mean, always check your settings and always look at the preview no matter how cold your fingers are.
Or no matter how crappy your LCD screen is. Just look at it. It's going to help you a little bit.
Which, it was really dark, so I was like, oh, yeah, I'll probably touch this up. Right. I looked, I was like, they didn't look super bright, just flashing by. And so I was like, I'll just touch it up. I was like, it's probably just, so dark out here. I'm not seeing them. And then I was like, oh, my gosh. I realized, literally on the plane back.
Well,
I was like,
what kind of settings for night, shooting the starry sky? What kind of settings do you use?
So you definitely have to be on manual focus and on, I guess it would be manual, because then you can choose your shutter speed. So
yeah, I guess I'm interested in the shutter speed.
Yeah, shutter speed is really big. So if you have it open too long, then the stars will just kind of
you'll see the movement.
Which is really interesting. If that's what you're going for, then you can get that. But it's also it'll get kind of fuzzy with that. So I've done a lot with shutter speed. You can do night writing. So have your shutter open. If you have a black background, so this would be perfect actually. Have the room super dark. So it's best to do it at night. You can click your shutter open, keep it open for 30 seconds, and then move in front of the camera with a flashlight. And just move it around, and whenever the shutter clicks off, the light will show up.
That's
really cool. I've messed with that a lot. So shutter speed, you can do a lot with it. Just as long as it's a lot of tweaking. You have to make sure your brightness is dark enough to where your background's not lit up, but not too dark where it's fading out the colors that you want.
Well, how do you think the camera understands that, shooting the stars? The aperture, how does it even matter?
I know, it's so odd to me. I'm like, okay,
what would you set the f-stop or the aperture?
Oh, I wouldn't even mess with that. And in manual, it doesn't really matter. But the smaller your f-stop, the fuzzier your background is going to be. So if you were going to set your f-stop, I would set it at f14 or something, because it's not gonna pick something to focus on. But like I said, if you're in manual focus, it's not going to focus on anything anyways, which is what your camera has to be at for those open shutter moments. Right. Because if you're in autofocus, it's just going to turn out black. Nothing's going to happen.
Well, it doesn't know what to focus on, so then you have to.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just going to be the whole time. So.
Well, that sounds fun. I did a long exposure, a 25-second, and a car happened to go by.
Oh, yeah. So I've done.
It just left a red beam of light. Yeah.
I've done a lot. There's an overpass on the interstate by my house, and so I did a couple pictures up there of the cars coming and going, and it turned out pretty good.
Well, there's one right here too.
Oh,
Don't
really?
say where.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I literally.
I've thought about going out there.
I mean,
capturing some audio and also capturing,
Yeah, I mean, you can get some really good pictures.
Yeah, that's cool.
With something like that.
Well, I look forward to seeing the stuff you're going to show off. And I wish I would have known sooner. I didn't realize you're a painter and stuff as well.
Oh,
yeah. If you have anything like that.
I'll see if I have any pictures of anything.
Yeah.
I did make this really pretty pot one time out of ceramics, and it took me months. I did it with coils, and I shaped it and then smoothed it all out and carved it and everything. And the glaze was not mixed properly when I put it on, and so it melted all of my carving off when it was in the kiln. I don't know why.
Did it look distorted?
Yes, it was so
it's
sad.
Abstract.
It's
true
nice
art.
now. My dad loves it. So
that's funny.
He has basil in it right now.
Oh, he's growing stuff in it?
Yeah, it's a huge pot.
Yeah, it's beautiful basil growing out
yeah, literally.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, that's actually really good.
Let's hear it. Story time.
Another story. So I'm a server as well. I that's my my normal person job. by night.
Close to the
Oh,
mic.
sorry.
You're fine.
Sorry. And I had an Elvis impersonator sit at one of my tables like a week ago, and he sang to me,
What did he sing?
"I Can't Help Falling in Love."
Oh,
It
that's
was lovely.
standard.
And he was a really good singer too. I was like, I was
I like
really
Blue
impressed.
Christmas. I think that's what it's called.
Oh yeah, I know what
Elvis.
you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like that
I
one.
really love Elvis and Johnny Cash. I'm a big fan of that whole time period. So,
Well, let's hear the
Oh,
story
yeah,
you
so,
wanted to say. We got a story.
it was almost a year ago. It'll be a year ago at the end of this month. I was up one night at like 4 a.m, and I was so bored. I have really bad insomnia. So I was like, I'm just gonna like mess around with my camera a little bit. So I got this bowl and I poured some Nerds in there, and I put some saran wrap on top, and I took my finger and I put like 100 little water droplets on top of the saran wrap, and I started just kind of like messing around with taking pictures and everything. And I TikTok, I posted a video on the whole process, and it got 300,000 views.
What?
And it was like, yeah, I woke up the next morning and it had like 2,000 views. And I was like, that's crazy. And so I went to work that night and I checked my phone. I was like, I wonder if, anything else has happened. And it had 10,000 views. And I was like, literally like jumping up and down. People were leaving the restaurant and I was like, bye, I'm famous. And they were like, what?
Mini fame.
And
No,
so
300,000 is ridiculous.
So by
That's
the time
cool.
I left that night, which was like maybe like an hour and a half, it had gone up from 10,000 views to like 150. And I was like, oh my gosh, like it was just every
150,000.
yeah. So every time it has like 100,000 likes.
How was the notifications like that?
Actually, there were
How did they
literally
deal with it?
none. And I was like, so that's why I was like,
Like
I
no
wonder.
one was liking it or anything?
No,
I don't
everyone
know
was
how TikTok
liking.
works.
I just don't. I guess it was just too many notifications. It was like it wasn't like just coming up on my phone.
Yeah, it was like,
And
well,
I was-
you'll figure it out.
Yeah. So that's why I was like, I'm gonna check this. See
Yeah.
if anyone's looked at it. And so I was blown away. So people are like still liking it for the first time like today. So
How
it's
long
really
ago was
weird.
this?
It nearly a year. It'll be a year at
Oh,
the end of
wow.
this. So it was like December 29th or something. I don't know of last year, and people are still viewing it. Yeah, no kidding. And it was my very first video too. So that's why I was like, this is
You
crazy.
should have went and ran with that.
I tried, but it did not work out.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but that was interesting. I was like, that was like my 15 seconds of fame. So I felt pretty good about that.
That is cool.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
And a lot of people I had some people like duet it and try to like recreate the video. And I was like, that's so sweet. Like,
Inspiration.
I felt good about that. So I'll give you the pictures of those too.
Okay, I'll
That'll
definitely
be
add
perfect.
that in
My
there.
famous
Yeah.
picture. Yeah.
And like I said, anything you want me to throw in there, I'll just do like a little montage
Cool.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Awesome. Well, when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
artistry, what's your, I don't know what a term would be. What's your pen of choice or your brush? Are you a painter? Are you a drawer?
Okay.
Pencil, pen, mechanical pencil.
Ooh.
Like the
I
anime
mean, all
people.
of the above. Like, I really work with anything I have. When I'm at work and I'm bored, like, I'll doodle with some ballpoint pens. And
Specifically ballpoint pens.
Ballpoint
See, that was
pens.
specific.
those are actually pretty hard to work with, but if you have, like, some stippling, some cross-hatching and everything, you can get some really good detail into it. And so I'm going to try to do more with that. Personally, my favorite pen is a Pilot, 0.7 millimeter rolling ball pen. They are just really smooth, really nice, dark ink. They do not bleed. And I like the fine point because you can do as much as or as little as you want with it. So
All right.
it's a really good pen.
So it
and
sounds
they're
like you
fairly
like
cheap.
pens.
I do like pens. I really like. I've done a couple realistic drawings with pencils. Because as far as drawing goes, I'm more of like a realism artist.
Do you do the thing where you rub the pencil with your
yeah,
thumb?
a little
Yeah.
bit.
I did that
like,
as a kid, and
yeah.
all I got was a dirty thumb. That was it. The picture was horrible.
Yeah, I have two different erasers that I like to use. So if I had to gather like my art supplies, a number 2 pencil, the Pilot rolling ball, I have a black magic eraser, and then just like a normal like pink eraser.
So what's the difference between the two erasers?
One is a little bit more for smudging. So that black one, you can kind of pull the graphite with it.
Okay.
And the pink one's just, bring out the highlights
Yeah.
and everything. And then I do also like to use a white pen, especially when I'm working with gray paper. You can bring out those highlights and a China marker if you've ever heard of that.
Yeah,
They're kind of like
what
a
is a China
thick
marker?
consistency. But it's just like, it's kind of like a white colored pencil, just a little bit of a thicker.
So it's literally the color white that you're drawing on there. Okay.
So
and it's meant
just to bring
add
out those,
highlight.
to bring out those highlights. One time I had an assignment and I had to draw a brown paper bag. A lot more difficult than you would think it is.
Well,
all
on
those
Pro
wrinkles.
Tools, there's a tool that does that. It brightens
Really?
it and darkens it, right? Or not Pro Tools, Photoshop.
Oh,
Sorry.
yes, yeah.
Same concept.
Yeah,
but
same
But in a
concept.
physical world.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So that's why I really like, it takes me a lot to get into drawing because I am always like, oh my gosh, like this is so frustrating. But once I'm into it, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to finish this picture if it's the last thing I do.
Yeah.
Like I'll stay up all night to do it. So, and I really like just drawing random objects. So like the brown paper bag, I've drawn a stapler. It's just random things. I really like office supplies. So they're fun to draw actually.
Oh my gosh, I have to get those scissors.
I'm working on a tape dispenser right now.
I actually did a styrofoam cup photo shoot.
Really?
Thought it would be a funny joke, and then I backed out.
Oh, why?
I don't know. It was just silly.
The
But
cup is sad.
The cup was handsome.
That's
It was a
good.
handsome cup. No, I was practicing draping. Like, have you ever thought about doing
okay.
like product photography?
You know, I have, and that's funny you say that. My uncle, he has a battery business, and so my cousin and I have to go take pictures of all the batteries and stuff so he can put them on his website. So, yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what I was doing, and you've probably done this, is I bought these different colored fabrics,
Mm-hmm.
and I had the table against the wall and the pieces like a board laid up, and then the thing draped down.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it gives you kind of an infinity look.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I've
that's
tried
a good
that. The only
look.
thing I couldn't figure out was like you can always see a shadow somewhere. So,
Yeah.
So like being outdoors helps. For those
It
kinds of
does, yeah.
things.
Yeah, for sure.
So you take pictures for batteries for a battery company
Yeah.
for the internet. Is that something you've thought about exploring? Is doing like marketing photography?
Not really. It's just kind of boring to me. And coming as a person who really likes to shoot nature doesn't talk back. But
So
you know.
nature is your top still.
It probably is, because I am just a pretty awkward person, honestly. So if I'm not like, I don't know how else to say this, but if I don't feel your energy, I'm probably not going to interact with you very well, taking your pictures. So if I have a really awkward person that I'm taking pictures of, chances are the photo shoot's not going to turn out very well.
I would
So-
just capture all the awkwardness. Say,
I
"Look,
mean,
this
I
is you."
try, yeah, which that's what I do. But I'm like, you know, after a few pose ideas, you know, they aren't exactly like inspiring me either. Because a lot of times I'll tell someone to go do something and they'll do something in the middle. I'm like, oh, hey, do that again. Like that looked really good. But people who are a little more shy in front of the camera, they'll do exactly what you tell
Right.
them to do.
Do you ever have someone who's like, I know better than you here, and I'm gonna do it my way? Like, have you ever had someone that's kind of you're
No.
like, hey, go ahead and try this, and they're ever like, well, I'm gonna do my own thing.
No.
Oh, that's good.
No, I have not. Well, I hope that never happens. I think I don't know what I would do. I would just be like, okay.
Yeah, just give them what they want. That's what you asked. I'm ugly. You chose the poses.
That's really funny. That reminded me. Last night I was at work and I ran a curbside order, and the guy was like, I handed him the checkbook, and he like signed it and then just like put it in his lap, and I was like, oh, can I get that check from you? And he was like, I can't keep it. And I was like the checkbook and everything, and I was like, no. And he was like, I can't. And I was like, if you want.
Do you collect them?
And he was like, no, I'm just kidding.
How's $10?
I know. I was like, I guess. He seemed really convincing. So, yeah, I don't know. If somebody was like, no, I want to do this, I probably would be like, yeah, okay, whatever.
I would never be able to figure it out.
The last like row always trips me up.
Okay, so you know to solve it by row.
Yeah. The first 2 rows I can get done in a few minutes, and it's the last row that takes me the bulk of the time.
Okay, because that's the wall for people. Is like when you first do Rubik's Cube,
yeah.
you're like, you don't solve it by sides. You solve
No,
it by layers.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't understand. I'm like, that
That didn't help me none. Like I said, I had to look it up and practice
Really?
a bunch and memorize patterns and go. Blah, 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 blah.
See, I don't even know the pattern. I'm just like, this one is supposed to go over here. So I'm like, okay, do this, and then I'm like, no, that's not right. So then I have to undo it. Yeah.
You ever seen Rubik's Cube art?
No.
What they do is they
mix it
up.
I have.
It's like 10 by
yes,
20
those are
Rubik's
so
cubes.
interesting. I really love really interesting mediums of art, and I want to start doing something like crazy.
Do something
I'm
like
just,
that. You
I'm
take a
just
video,
not
a
sure.
time-lapse video of that, you get 300 more thousand likes.
Literally. But I've seen people who have like sheets of bubble wrap, and then they'll fill each individual bubble with like a different color of paint, like glitter.
Oh my gosh.
I've seen so much because I follow like an art
They got like a
blog.
needle, like,
That's
one.
exactly what they do.
1,000 to go. Dude, that sucks.
I mean, they're huge. But I follow like an art blog, and it's like different forms of art and stuff. So I'm trying to find something weird to get into that I can kind of like figure out my own rules with it. I'm just not sure.
So you're looking for like maybe niche would be a good word.
I
Like
guess.
something.
Because
not
I feel
so
like
normal.
I feel like I collect hobbies, so I'm not like fantastic at one thing. I'm just like okay at a lot of things.
Well, there's an idea for a show, The Hobby Collector.
Oh.
And throughout the week, you can do your different hobbies.
Oh,
Make
you're
videos
right.
about
You
them.
are so right. It's just whenever I get bored, I just find a new hobby. So I've been through a lot.
Oh, yeah. So you could do like like temporary hobbies.
Okay. So
You know?
every time I have a hobby, I'm gonna come on for a special and show you a new one.
Yeah. Just have you every week. It just turns into our podcast.
That
It's
would
just
be
us every time.
that would actually be okay. I think we could make a good show out of it.
No, I mean that's for real though.
Yeah.
Consider that.
I mean, have you Call Her Daddy? Have you ever heard that podcast? It's just two girls, and they come on every week and like just talk about their lives.
I may have seen them on other people's podcasts.
I mean,
like comedian types.
Kind of. They literally
What's
just
their
talk about their
names?
life. I don't remember.
Sorry, that podcast.
It's okay. We love you.
What's the podcast called?
Call Her Daddy.
Oh, so you said that.
Yeah,
That's
I said
good
that
enough.
already.
That'll be all right.
Yeah, they'll
Yeah.
understand. It's not
I
like they're
guess I
going
could
to be
check it
watching
out.
this. Yeah.
Well, our audience at this point, you're welcome. Call her daddy, or call him daddy, because we're sending a bunch of people that way.
That's exactly.
Clearly, because there's like
We
a
are
million people
free
that watch
advertising.
This. Yep.
1 million?
No.
I was
No.
like, wow, I should have dressed better.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Got my Christmas sweater. You got your hoodie.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. If I call that a sweater, it's like it's not a sweater.
We can start an argument like in the comments, I guess. We can start a poll.
Well, we're talking about clothes. Do you like doing like people as well? Doing some models?
Yes. Okay. So I don't know how this didn't come up earlier. Wow. I think that I would classify myself best as an editorial photographer.
What does that mean?
So I really so imagine like a magazine, like all the pictures that you would see in there. I really enjoy when I am posing people. Like I'm trying to get somebody to model for me in a laundromat right now. And nobody will. So
You need like a male model, female model.
either one. Do you wanna go take pictures in the laundromat?
Yeah, I mean, I could do that, and I could also
Let's go
link up.
right now.
No, I'm saying there's people that I'm part of an agency, so if you ever need people like that, hit
that's
me,
right. I
yeah.
totally forgot. Wow.
Yeah, I've got plenty of people
Yeah.
that would maybe do that.
Yeah. So
And we could I could team up with you because you can do the photography and I can get some video shots.
yes.
Stuff.
Oh yes. Oh,
Yeah.
now I'm excited.
Okay,
All right.
yeah.
This is good. This is good.
Yeah, definitely.
So much. So I don't know, but I enjoy posing people and finding that weird angle. So like I use like Vogue a lot as my inspiration, just trying to get like, those like shots in a field of them like, like flipping their hair back and, doing
AV.
like weird like hand stuff.
Right,
So
AV.
yeah, AV. Always. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So you like, but you're not, but like you said, you've mentioned this multiple times. You like capturing motion. And
I really do I
the
like
waterfall
capturing
being
moments.
blurred
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Capturing someone moving.
Yeah. And
so
also the best thing is like capturing someone laughing. That is my favorite thing to do. Like I will literally like get a little like teary eye looking through pictures like that just because
that genuine laugh.
I'm too
So
invested.
genuine.
It's true.
Are you okay?
But
It's like, but he's laughing.
No,
I know it's confusing.
I know that is actually how I am. I'll be like, look at this picture. I'm like,
Yeah.
she's so happy.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but that's really special to me just because like people usually enjoy those pictures a lot more if you're like I did some headshots for my mom one time and she has the most forced smile I have ever seen. That's literally how she smiles. I'm so sorry, Mom. I'm calling you out right now. And
Oh,
and
I
so
know
I
your
was-
mom. Oh, I should have done that. I hope she doesn't make it this far.
No, I'm gonna be like, yeah, like let's just put like a like part before this, and this gonna be like bloopers.
That's horrible. Her monologue is great.
Yeah, she's good. Woo. So whenever I was doing like her headshots and everything, I was like, all right, smile, and then I was like, all right, smile with your teeth, because she would be like, I was like, give me some more, and I would be like, I would be like, give me a face like your billionaire husband just died and you're at his funeral and people are like, you know, taking pictures of you, and she was like, I was like, yeah. So if you give people like a really
your
specific,
billionaire husband just died.
Not
That'd be me.
smiling.
I'd be going,
Not
I'm
smiling.
getting a lot of money. Yeah.
Maybe not smiling for that one. But if you give people like a really odd prompt, they'll be like, what? And like they'll go along with it.
Like you and your husband are poor and he's dying. That's a genuine.
That's terrible.
That's more genuine. Well, when your rich husband dies,
That's like,
it's
hey,
sad, but it's like
that's like being like, your dog just went into surgery.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Toddler broke his leg. Have a good one.
Yeah. Okay, but kids getting hurt is really funny.
Yeah, that's
when
not
it's
funny.
not serious.
I'm gonna cut that out.
Yeah.
Make fun of your mom some more. No, I'm kidding. That's funny.
We're gonna have to go into another segment if you want to do that.
No. Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Mom. I didn't mean that.
No, we're gonna start another channel. That's what we'll do.
Okay.
No,
yeah.
that's horrible.
No, it's
You're
good.
grounded after this.
She can't ground me. Oh man. Yeah, that's good.
Funny.
This is good.
Well, let's. Do you have anything you want to promote? You know, plugs, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever
please
you
not
kids
my
are doing nowadays.
My Snapchat username is. I cannot even say it.
I'll just put it in the no, but
Don't.
you got I'll put it in the description.
Please no,
You
I
think-
don't.
Well, then don't even bring it up.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. You're like, don't put my Snapchat.
It's the most
like,
embarrassing thing ever. I
But
came
now
up with it.
your incentive, you're like, I want to see it now.
No, yeah, okay. I mean
No, I'm
Snapchat,
kidding.
whatever.
But I mean, what do you use? What would you want to
a
show?
lot of
Instagram?
Instagram, yeah, that's where my photography page is. So we'll put it down below.
Yeah. Awesome.
Cool.
So just Instagram.
Yeah, I'm pretty basic.
Me too.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
good.
I'm a little Facebook, but
I only use Facebook for work, so don't text me on there.
that's good. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. This is
Always.
awesome. You're a great person to interview.
Thank you.
Plenty to say because I run out sometimes. So, well, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
KTM.
This is where Knox Talent meets.